I'm Elise Hugh.
And I'm Josh Klein, and we're the hosts of Built for Change, a podcast from Accenture.
On Built for Change, we're talking to business leaders from every corner of the world that are harnessing change to reinvent the future of their business.
We're discussing ideas like the importance of ethical AI or how productivity soars when companies truly listen to what their employees value.
These are insights that leaders need to know to stay ahead.
So subscribe to Built for Change wherever you get your podcasts.
Today on CityCast Boise, Boise Fashion Week is hosting its first ever event. Local designer Juliana Davidsmeyer is here to talk about how she's preparing for the show and the sustainable roots of her brand Ritual Blue. Plus, she convinces our producer Evelyn Avitia to dive into the fashion scene. It's Tuesday, October 17th. I'm Emma Arnold, and this is what Boise's talking about. Hi, Juliana. Hi, Evelyn.
Hi.
Hello.
Juliana, what is your opinion? Is Boise a fashionable city?
I think they have their own sense of style.
That is very diplomatic.
I mean, you know, it's more diverse now than it was when I first came here many years ago. But I think there is sort of, I mean, maybe it's a Pacific Northwest kind of thing where it's a little bit more outdoorsy than other, you know, metropolitan cities. But yeah, there's a certain vibe, flavor, I guess, that they have.
I will say I was just in Seattle and I was looking around and I was like, you know what? Actually, maybe it's not so bad in Boise. Maybe we're doing a little bit better. But I definitely would love to see people have a better sense of style here. I think that's one thing we've struggled with. I think that Boise doesn't really have an identity when it comes to fashion besides relying on that like wannabe PNW outdoorsy vibe.
Yeah, I think that's one reason, like when I go to other cities, I'm actually pretty fashionable. But in Boise has taught me if I dress up at all, I will be the most overdressed person in the room. Everybody else will be in, Evelyn, what did you call it? Gorpcore? Is that what you called it?
Gorpcore, yes.
Explain Gorpcore for people who don't know, maybe.
So Gorpcore was trending a couple months ago. And basically, it's like good old raisins and peanuts, referring to like trail mix and the whole aesthetic of outdoorsy wear. So people wearing the stuff that they would wear to go hiking or just like expensive attire like that you would use for outdoorsy stuff. That's what they would just wear all the time out and about. But with Gorpcore, they would like style it so it looks super hip and cool.
Yeah, when we had the owner of the Avery, which is a nice, very, nice restaurant here, I asked him about that. Like, are you worried people are going to come down in just like jeans and a t-shirt? You're like, you're building this upscale restaurant. You want people to dress up. And he was like, I'm not worried about it. I know it will happen. I've just accepted. And we went and we dressed up. We took my aunt for dinner and we were very dressed up. And pretty much everybody else was in like vests and, like hiking shoes. And I was like, this does feel like very Boise. What needs to change? Like, what do we need to see more of?
More shops, more boutiques, more options for shopping, for sure.
What do you think, Evelyn? In addition to more shops, is there, like, what else do we need?
I would say that it's just people don't prioritize it. It's not something that they really care about. And so I think it's just a big identity thing here. So I don't know how we can start that shift of like introducing Boise and the Treasure Valley as a more like fashion forward city. I don't know what steps we need to take to get there. I think we're very, very much stalled.
Well, with Boise's first Fashion Week coming up, maybe that can be, maybe that will be helpful. It's being hosted this weekend, and organizers say the goal of the event is to bring local fashion awareness to Boise. Why do you think that fashion is just like not really seen as an art form here? I think, Evelyn, you've compared it to other creative outlets like music, art, and comedy, like which are, have great scenes here. But like fashion, I don't feel like we have a very great fashion scene here.
I feel like there's a certain, I don't want to be dragged kicking and screaming to dress up kind of a thing. Like, I want to be comfortable. I want to wear what I want to wear. I want to be individual. But, if I think there was a comfort level with, a little bit of fashion, a little bit of swag, whatever it is, it would be seen as okay to do. And it's almost as though it's seen as something that's for those people, not me.
Yeah, I think so too. I think that people, if they see you put in an effort, it's like, oh, why are you all dressed up? Or like, oh, look at you. Like, almost it's like, oh, you think you're better than me. I'm just a casual, normal being. I feel like it's almost looked down upon. And I do see that fashion is such a creative outlet for people to really express themselves. And so it's very interesting to see that, yes, like Boise is very supportive about local music and they're very supportive about local art, but just not being able to see that. I think that fashion is a form of art.
I mean, there are a few more events that have popped up recently that people have asked me to do. So I think there's some effort, but it will take a while. I mean, so I had moved originally here back in 1992 when I was designing for it. There was a designer here back then. His name is Robert Comstock. So it was very specific to that look of, I don't know, back then almost a Ralph Lauren look where there was leather and denim and suede and things like that. But since then, there's just been this huge gap of anyone here really doing anything specific. So, and I think, at that point in time, that's kind of what the company or the country expected from Boise, Idaho, kind of a cowboy look, which, Western look. But I mean, I think it can be more than that. I think I am a little bit more hopeful. I mean, and that's why I moved back. I moved back in 2019. So I moved back with the intention of, starting a small sewing studio and teaching sewing or design or illustration, and then doing my own small collection. So I'm like, yeah, I'm hopeful.
I'm Elise Hugh.
And I'm Josh Klein, and we're the hosts of Built for Change, a podcast from Accenture.
On Built for Change, we're talking to business leaders from every corner of the world that are harnessing change to reinvent the future of their business.
We're discussing ideas like the importance of ethical AI or how productivity soars when companies truly listen to what their employees value.
These are insights that leaders need to know to stay ahead.
So subscribe to Built for Change wherever you get your podcasts.
Do you think that this fashion week is just something that Boise's been needing? I mean, it seems to me if you have an art form like fashion, but you don't have a place to show it to people, maybe other than on your own body when you go out, but people will maybe not say, hey, I love that. And you can say, I made it. It's mine. It's my design. Like, is Fashion Week just kind of like, it seems really necessary?
I mean, yeah, it's another, pillar of things that we can do. But there are other, there's a lot of us working, doing our own thing. We're selling online. We're putting it out there that, yes, we produce in America, we produce in Idaho, and saying, it's something very special made here in the United States. For instance, my items are sustainable. They're made with vintage and dead stock fabrics. So I kind of put all those things together as something that's important coming from Boise, Idaho. So maybe, it's important to have Fashion Week or important to have, other events. But yeah, I think we're all kind of plugging along, doing our own thing, and hopefully that is part of it too.
So how are you preparing for this event?
So I designed a new collection. I concentrate a lot on corsets. So I did new designs with my corsets. I did a little bit of a different color scheme of what I normally do. Just started, I make my own patterns. I cut everything out myself, sew it up. I may occasionally have some help sewing because it's a lot. It's going to be 10 looks. And so when you add that all up, if one person is wearing 2, 3, items, it adds up. So I'm prepared by, making all those items and doing fittings and altering things to fit people.
Do you have a look you're the most excited about?
I do have a couple of new looks that I'm pretty excited about. Yeah, they're new items for me. So want to see it's good for me to see the reaction.
Mm-hmm.
And that's another, I guess, part of having either a fashion show or maybe going to a local marketplace. I get to be face to face with potential customers and see what it is that they like or don't like and how things fit. So that's really helpful to me. And that's, I think, a reason why boutiques, shop stores here in the area are important. So that, even if it's someone different who owns the store and I can have maybe a trunk show in the store, I would still be able to see those items on people and be able to say, this works, that doesn't work.
Yeah. And then being an Indigenous woman, are you able to kind of draw inspiration from your culture and kind of showcase that through your designing and through your work?
So yes and no. I mean, I've mostly focused on designing things that I would like to wear myself, as opposed to,
Yeah.
doing things with ribbons or beads or things like that. Sometimes, I mean, and there's amazing Native American designers, but I
Hmm.
feel sometimes, that someone who's not Native might feel a little strange wearing it, maybe
Totally.
as though they're appropriating, and I didn't really want to do that. I might touch on that in the coming months and years,
Hmm.
but just touches of it.
Yeah.
Juliana, I'm just curious, where did you live outside of Boise?
I was born and raised just outside of Los Angeles in Southern California.
Okay.
So I went to school in Los Angeles, a school called Otis Parsons. And the school that I went to, designers would come there and work with us. And so that's where I met Robert Comstock. And I'm just like, Boise, Idaho, where is that? So he hired me while I was in school. I came here immediately after school. And so that was my real first job here in Boise. I did leave and then go back to Los Angeles and work for retail companies there. I focused in the later years and most recent years working for uniform companies.
Uniform companies. Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So designing a lot of cocktail uniforms, casino uniforms.
Oh, wow.
I work with a lot of Native American companies or properties. Yeah, I do a lot of that. I felt like when I was designing uniforms as opposed to retail, I had more control over my own projects, and I like that. So it taught me a lot about being able to start my own business because I was able to learn a lot more about sourcing and production and, costing, all the things that go into design.
I was scrolling on your website and I came across some quilted coats that you had made. And
Mm-hmm.
that is one item on my winter/fall wish list. I love seeing people style them and wear those. And so I was curious, like, is there an item that you love seeing people wear or something that you love designing for this time of year?
I mean, I do like those coats. I am doing a new design for the fashion show that's coming up. This is really the first time that I've done items other than the quilt coats
Hmm.
for fall or winter because I had mostly just focused on corsets. But
Right.
I mean, I love the quilt coat.
Yeah. No, seriously, so cute. And I was looking through, and also I love what you said, dead stock and vintage material. That's what you said that you
Yes.
use. The
Yes.
towel tops, those are
Hmm.
literally made of towels because they're
Yeah.
so cute. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. But you just
Yeah.
literally, they're made of towels, like vintage towels.
Yeah. I sold one batch super, super fast because when I listed them, actually, when I purchased them and then listed them, they were here locally at a sale and they had never been used. They had tags on them and the towels were from the 1970s. And I was like, this is like a gold mine. So made towel jackets and towel tops and things like that and sold them super fast because I'm like, they were just like pristine. But yeah, they're fun.
Your corsets, by the way, are so beautiful. They are
Thank you.
so inventive. And the fabric, I guess because you're using vintage and like dead stock stuff, so unique. Like the different fabrics are so amazing.
Yeah. I like those pieces to be as one of a kind as possible. Maybe I'll make, two or three the same. But as much as possible, I like those to be one of a kind just so they feel really special.
What's your
Mhm.
least favorite item to make? Is there anything that just you're making it, but it makes you like, I hate this?
Pants.
Pants.
Ooh.
There's a lot of parts and pieces that go into making pants.
Yeah, I imagine even if you're a pull-on and you aren't even trying to do zippers and pockets and those sort of things, pants seem
mean,
very hard.
That's a little easier, but I wear jeans, and so for the show, I designed a new pair of jeans, or I'm having a new pair of jeans, and so it's like when I did jeans previously, they had stretch, and I based them on a pattern from the 1940s, but this one's different, and I was like, no, I can't do this. They're very, a lot of it's really weird if you take a look at your jeans. There's just so many parts and pieces that
Mhm.
go into making them.
Yeah, I've tried sewing a few different times and have been like, wait a minute, this is math. this is all math. I
Yeah.
thought this was like, it is an incredibly creative thing to do, but it's so complicated and so hard. And you get one thing wrong and then you got, you don't have pants anymore. You have a smock
Yeah.
or something. Do you have any advice for people in Boise who are interested in getting into fashion, learning about fashion, learning to sew even?
It depends. Do you want to just sew for yourself? It's fine to learn, from a family member or friend, maybe even some, online videos. But someone who wants to actually get into the fashion industry, my advice is to go to school, get an education. It's pretty important to actually be a trained designer in order to work for companies and learn from them.
Creatively, do you have any advice? I find, I'm an artist and I have a lot of young artists ask me, like, what do I do? How do I get into this? And it's so hard to explain to somebody, like, just find what you make, find who you are as a person, and then you'll know how to be that as an artist. Do you have any advice like that for people wanting to get into fashion?
I would say start drawing, start sewing, start really paying attention to the clothing that you wear. It's one of those things that we don't think about a lot. We put it on, we wash it, we dry it, we put it back on again. It's take really close notice of what it is that you're wearing, and you'll find what interests you. Some designers are wovens designers, some are knitwear designers, some are specifically denim designers. So find something that interests you, and kind of get a little bit more involved with learning more about it.
How do people take your sewing class, Juliana?
I've got a website. It's called Fashion Design and Sew Studio. And I mostly have classes on Saturdays because I'm working throughout the week. But when I've got time, I open the classes back up for Saturdays. And I just leave them open and listed.
I love this. Goodbye, CityCast Boise. I'm heading to fashion school.
Oh no, Juliana, you just poached Evelyn. You got her. Before we let you go, Juliana, where can people find your amazing clothes and where can they see you at Fashion Week?
Fashion Week, I will be showing on Saturday evening. My website is ritualblue.com. My fashion studio is fashiondesignandsewstudio.com. Also Instagram, same thing, ritual.blue.
Ritual.blue on Instagram.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Well, I encourage people to follow you and check out your clothes because they're so inventive and so beautiful. Thank you so much, Juliana, and Evelyn too, even though you're leaving us apparently. But Juliana, thank you so much for making time for us today.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
That's all for today here on CityCast Boise. If you enjoyed the show, check out our Hey Boise newsletter. We'll be back tomorrow morning with more local stories from around the city. Bye.